Assalamu alaikum and good morning. Thank you for joining today's webinar. This is our third session on climate resilience in Pakistan as part of the webinar series brought to you by USAID Higher Education System Strengthening Activity HESSA. HESSA is a 5-year USAID funded project working closely with HEC and 16 public sector universities across Pakistan, focusing on capacity building, introducing relevant policy reforms, and fostering academia-industry linkages to improve graduate employability. HESSA has initiated Pakistan Climate Resilience Research Coordination Network, RCN, for researchers to co-produce science to action, interdisciplinary research, education, and workforce development. With this brief introduction, I would hand over to Dr. Nausheen Mazhar from Lahore College for Women University, who is the organizer and moderator for today's webinar. Over to Dr. Nausheen.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. In America, I send my greetings, and in Pakistan, assalamu alaikum, and a very good morning to everyone. So initially, I would like to thank USAID and HESSA project for providing the Pakistani researchers across different universities this great chance to become a part of the research coordination network dealing with climate resilience issues in Pakistan. This is the third webinar of the series, and the theme of today's webinar is climate change and drylands of Punjab. Till now, we have had 2 webinars on very pertinent themes of climate change generic issues in the country. And the second one was about the heat wave issues in Sindh particularly. Nevertheless, we considered that in Punjab, a rising issue is the aridity and related issues to desertification, which me and my very respected co-hosts today are going to try to address. Before proceeding further to introduce the topic that I'll be talking about, I will briefly introduce myself. I'm serving as a chairperson and associate professor in Department of Geography, and also serving as head of International Resource Center, DFTI in LCWU. I will be sharing today's agenda. After the brief introduction, I'll be sharing some of the information about climate change-induced challenges in the dryland of Pakistan. And my effort is going to build the stage for the speaker 2 and speaker 3 to share their technical expertise in this particular field. Followed by, we'll be having a very pertinent speaker, Dr. Muhammad Abdullah. I would like to introduce him first. Dr. Abdullah is working as director and associate professor in Cholistan Institute of Desert Studies, and he's also the director of Islamia University of Bahawalpur Biodiversity Park. Islamia University is one of the great institutes in South Punjab. Dr. Abdullah has published more than 50 research publications, 12 conference abstract papers, 10 research projects he has worked so far on. He has many newspaper articles. He has contributed to 3 book chapters, supervised 2 PhD and 15 MPhil students, and he is dedicated enough to continue his journey towards the knowledge sharing regarding dryland ecosystems and Cholistan biodiversity. And today we will be gaining benefits from him when he'll be talking about potential natural resource bank of drylands in Pakistan, a case study of Cholistan Desert. Our third speaker is Mr. Muhammad Imran, and I would like to introduce him. He is working as a regional director in Punjab Council of Research in Water Resources. He has completed his master's degree in geophysics from Qaid-e-Azam University, Islamabad, and he has more than 15 years of experience in the field of groundwater management, groundwater recharge wells, water quality monitoring, and mitigation and rainwater harvesting. He has contributed in the execution of different projects conducted by PCRWR in collaboration with national and international organizations like ACIAR, ICARDA, UNICEF, UNDP, etc. Mr. Muhammad Imran will be sharing his experience regarding the topic climate resilient solutions for the survival of Cholistan community, a PCRWR experience. Then we'll be having a brief question and answer session, and then some concluding remarks by me myself. So now I'll begin with the topic on which I'll be providing you a brief insight regarding climate change induced challenges in the drylands of Pakistan. So to begin with, what are drylands? Any area which is hyper-arid, arid, semi-arid, or dry subhumid. These are different classifications of lands based on precipitation differences. So together they form the drylands. Drylands are basically explained by UNCCD in terms of the difference in aridity index, where aridity index is basically a ratio between evapotranspiration and mean annual precipitation. In most of the dry lands, the evapotranspiration increases as compared to the annual precipitation. Global drylands basically cover 41% of the Earth's land surface. They are expanding at every moment, and UNCCD postulates that about 10% of the land is going to increase in the near future by the end of the century, and they are home to over 2 billion people. So globally, it is considered that drylands are unworthy areas of investment because of their low productivity. And in some of the countries, they have been classified as wastelands even. However, you'll be surprised to know that 44% of the global croplands are located in the drylands of the world, and they are supporting 50% of the total livestock production. They are mostly comprised of shrublands and grasslands that basically support the extensive livestock production. When we talk about the global perspective, Mali, Kenya, Ethiopia, 10% of the GDP basically comes from the livestock sector. In Kyrgyzstan and Mongolia, approximately 20% of the national GDP comes from the livestock sector. And in Pakistan's perspective, we are contributing approximately 14% from this sector. So it cannot be negated because this area being more fragile to the climatic vagaries, it's needed for timely investigation and monitoring of the different climate change issues in the drylands of the country. And they are also famous for producing the famine foods, which are mostly resilient foods, local species of the desert ecosystems that the people rely on in the times of famine, and also feed to their cattle. Dr. Abdullah perhaps might be furthering and explaining it during his talk. So what are the dryland challenges that the country is facing at the moment, and the world's drylands as well? Because of the changing rainfall patterns, which I'll be showing you in some of the upcoming figures, the surface and the groundwater in the drylands is continuously decreasing, which is posing threats to the species living in these regions. This basically aggravates the poverty because most of the people in the drylands are living below the poverty line, poses food and water insecurity. This is one of the maps that I've taken from a 2019 publication, and you can see that over here, the three figures are showing three different scenarios according to the IPCC speculations. If the world faces a temperature increase of 1.5 degrees Celsius, almost 4% of the global land to drier type is going to increase. If the world's temperature increases to 0.2 plus 2 degrees Celsius, global dry land is going to increase by 5%. And if it increases to 4 degrees Celsius, 11% of the global land is going to increase. Which will be posed towards the dry land type. If you look at the map over here, the hyper-arid areas, which are shown in deep red, are representing the major deserts of the world, whereas the arid, semi-arid, and dry subhumid, these three contributes the drylands of the country. Now, the drylands of the world, drylands have the potential to get converted into hyper-arid regions very easily because of the climatic fluctuations, and this may lead to more catastrophic food shortages that we might face in future. These are two of the maps taken from a publication of 2021 about the climate anomalies. Here in the top left, you can see the temperature anomalies for 4 different decades, which have been mentioned over here. I won't go into the detail, and we'll just look at the bird's eye view of the color combinations. The blues are showing the negative trend of temperature, which means negative anomalies, whereas the reds are showing the higher anomalies, which means the positive rising trend of temperature over the years. And you can very easily see a progression from the blues towards the reds, especially in the drylands, because these maps are based on the dryland regions of the world only. And as the temperature rises, the evapotranspiration increases, and the water on the surfaces and even in the leaves, because of evapotranspiration, gets reduced, posing threats to the life in the region. And in the bottom right corner, you can see the precipitation anomaly from 1979 till 2010. And over here, the beiges and the reds are showing the negative trend in precipitation, which means the precipitation is going to decrease and has been decreasing. Whereas the blues are showing a positive trend, positive anomaly, which means areas that will be experiencing abnormally higher rainfall patterns than the average ones. And you can see a clear translation from 1979 till 2010, where the beiges and the reds are increasing in number, showing that the precipitation patterns are going to get dwindled and reduced precipitation will be witnessed. Over here, we can see the global distribution of the world's drylands. All the browns are showing the distribution of the drylands here. Another map from UNCCD chapter, which is showing us the distribution of the global drylands, hyper-arid areas being the deserts. The remaining one over here are showing the distribution of the world's drylands. And you can see that Pakistan is amongst the country which is, most of the area is covered by arid and the semi-arid land types. Over here, we can see the global distribution of the expansion of the simulations, especially temporal simulations of the aridity index. I want you to focus on the category B over here, which is regarding the drylands particularly. And over here, we can see the RCP scenarios, the corrected one and the uncorrected one for the CMIP5 models that has been proposed by IPCC. If we just focus on these red and the light pink lines, they're showing the rising trend of the aridity index till the end of this century, that is 2100, starting from 1950. And the abrupt rise in the trend is quite visible, which means that the global mean precipitation is going to get reduced, while the evapotranspiration is going to get abnormally increased, leading to higher aridity index, where there is very ample evidence that the global drylands are going to convert from drylands to deserts, because as they get intensified, they're going to convert into deserts, an area which would be desertified, losing its biological capacity to support life. Here again, we have global distribution of changes in the dryland subtypes. As we move from figure A to figure C, we can see, look at the legend below, that there is going to be increased areas of hyper-arid zone, and semi-arid. And in Pakistan's region, we can see the top three colors increasing from the figure A to figure C, which shows that in the near future, the trend is going to continue in the same rate, and the climate is going to leave its impact on the economy of these countries. If you look at the global distribution of the dryland categories, leaving the blues alone, which are showing the humid areas, and we focus just on these four colors, the light blue, gray, and the yellow, which are representative of semi-arid, dry, subhumid, and arid regions, you can see that the Asia and Africa have the most of the drylands of the world, both the continents being the ones in which there is more aridity on the rise. If you talk about Pakistan, 83% of the area in Balochistan is arid, in Punjab, 100%. In Sindh, 69% of the area is arid. In KPK, 86% is dry subhumid. So these figures that I've named are all part of the drylands of the country, and approximately 3/4 of the country is dryland. These are some of the clicks that I have taken across the South Punjab districts, showing saline landscapes in the drylands. If we talk about the climate change impacts of the drylands, it's going to overall result in decreased water availability in the surface water bodies. Some of the impacts, socio-economic impacts of drylands, they have impacts on the poverty, food, and nutritional insecurity results. There's impact on the human health through increased frequency of the dust storms. There are going to be higher challenges for the women and the children, because there's gender inequality mostly in these regions. There's going to be impacts on the water scarcity, energy infrastructure, and migration, of course. How can we manage the dryland in a sustainable manner? Well, that can be done through sustainable land management. I won't go into the detail and let the experts talk about this in the upcoming slides, and I thank you with this. Now I would like to request Dr. Abdullah to please share his screen and share with us the knowledge about the Cholistan and on his topic. So please share your screen and share the title with us once again.
First of all, thank you so much, Dr. Nausheen, that you have given me an opportunity to give an overview what our institute is doing and my expertise and what our team is doing in Cholistan. Are you listening me, everybody, please?
Yes.
Thank you so much. I will give you an overview of some multidisciplinary projects in Cholistan Desert. What the Cholistan is and what type of this arid land is. I want to brief you, give the overview of the desert different resource of Cholistan exclusively. So let's continue, please. This is the first of all our topic on which we are doing. We are here gathered today for the talking about the different climate resilience in Pakistan, especially South Punjab chapter. And I also thank you to the Mr. Muhammad Imran from the PCRWR being a part of it. First of all, deserts. I want to give you, and this is just a slide. I want to tell you that deserts are the barren land. They have the less vegetation, less the climatic suitabilities. But this is the one component. We have to focus on the what the desert nature sources are. So I want to give deserts are the not the empty from the nature sources. Deserts are the rich in natural sources. Either they have the biodiversity, plants, animals, fauna, flora. They have the rich in ecotourism. They are very important biomes for the minerals, oil deposits, a lot of other important nature sources. They are supporting the large number of the local community. They are dependent on these arid land, so-called wheat deserts. So I want to just give an overview. Deserts are not the barren lands. They have their own economy, local community depending on it. They have the rich wildlife resources, rich floral resources, and these flora is very important for their livestock, because in Cholistan, socio-economic condition only dependent on these livestock, and this livestock is dependent on the natural vegetation of arid land. So I want to tell these deserts are important resource bank for the local community as well as national economy. So the other component is very important, that deserts are also the rangeland. Rangelands are these are the grazing lands. Cholistan is a big grazing land which is supporting the a large number of the livestock, and livestock is the ultimate economy of local community. I will give you an overview in the next slide, please. These are the type of the different desert rangelands in the all over the world. They are the type of the grasslands, shrublands, tundral pines. They are the cold desert types, woodlands,
Dr.
savannas.
Abdullah, sorry to interrupt you. We are
Sure,
not
sure.
listening your voice. I think there is some issue in the voice.
So, but we can listen to him.
Are you listening me, please?
Yes.
Okay. Dr. Imran, I am listening you, but please check. So I continue, please.
Yes, please continue.
Oh, yes. Pakistan. Pakistan is rich in deserts and natural rangelands, but one of the important one is the Cholistan. And what we have done in the Cholistan on their different resource bank, this, yes, we are working on the different SDGs goals. First of our goal is on Cholistan desert is the zero hunger, then is the climate action, then is the life on land. Because in this Cholistan is producing the food for the community nationally, internationally, as well as they are playing the important role for the climate actions, and they have the for the conservation point of view, they are the rich in biodiversity. This project was funded by the ALP PRC, and these are the some important desert areas in Pakistan. Cholistan is the one example of this or of our Pakistan region. This were the altogether integrated information which we have compiled, because they are the total you can see in the slide there are the different component. One most important component is their livestock resources. This is an overview of the Cholistan arid lands. You can see this is not the dead barren land, this is the rich in the as a grazing potential. These are the our sites on which we are working. Our team is working on the almost 35 different sites of Cholistan. We have done there the floral diversity, wildlife diversity. We are working on their soil components and the local socio-economic conditions. This is the natural rain harvesting tobas in Cholistan desert. Cholistan is totally dependent on natural rains. There are the two type of the rain in the monsoon, July, August, and as well as the 1 or 2 rains in the winters. I think Mr. Imran will give you an detailed overview of Cholistan of the water related resources, but I will more focused on the other resources. This is the nomadic lifestyle in Cholistan. These arid areas have very unique dimensions. You can, when you go in the field on the ground basis, you can check these are the local community are the not the permanent stable community. They move with their livestock for the search of their livestock feed as well as their own resources, especially in search of water. These are the some climatic conditions. There you can check there the rain is only available during the July and August. Winter rain is scarce and the very scanty amount, but its availability is prolonged due to the less evaporation in winter season. These are the our site on which we are working in all over the desert. These are the different, we have identified 3 different natural habitats in Cholistan. You can see sand dunes, interdunes, and clay saline patches. These are the different, but interdunal site is very rich because they have the huge diversity of the flora as well as their livestock. This is the when we were working on these floral diversity. This diversity is not available. We have to wait for the floral diversity in the arid land for the rains. Rain is the ultimate source in the arid land. When the rain is there, we have the huge number of the floras, either tree, shrub, grasses, and in that season we have the good quantity of meat and milk production, and the local community is very happy in that season. In this slide I can show you that we have identified 180 plants. These plants are the ultimate food for the wildlife, livestock. Even local community use indigenous plants for their different food as well as for their livestock treatment, as well as for their different in their diseases. They use different plants and their remedies for their own treatments. This is the ecological description. Either these plants are not available around the year. These plants are only come out after the rains, and the local community preserve them for their different. This is the actual resource bank of Cholistan. If there is the no vegetation, there will be the no livestock food, no human food. Similarly, this is very important slide. I have categorized. There are the 152 forage fodder plants, 126 medicinal plants, 56 food, and 48 firewood, 23 thatching for the different roof making processes, and the 13 species are the timber. This is the economic use classification of deserts, and all the people dependent on these plants. This is the plant for the livestock. Why are the plants are playing their important role for their livestock? Some are the very highly palatable, some are the less, and some are the moderate palatables. But just think, in arid land, economy operate on the rainfalls. Similarly, in deserts, they are the not only the one habitat. We have identified 5 different habitats in the drylands. Marshlands, very rare component, very minor component, but the sand dunal area, agriculture fields, clay saline areas, and interdunal sandy areas. These we have identified in our studies that the desert is not one habitat. There are the different type of the habitats and areas. Similarly, this is the some ecological parameters, and we have categorized all the natural vegetation source bank in the different ways, from the grazing response, anthropogenic factors, their trend, either they are decreasing with the passage of time. No doubt, when there is no rainfall, there is a huge decline in the vegetation, and the local community migrate from the inner desert to the periphery of desert. These are the some of the multivariate analysis. We have divided overall the Cholistan into the 3 different clusters. Yes, I want to show you that when there is the rain, you can check the wet season rangeland productivity and the dry season rangeland productivity. Picture totally changes during the rains. These are the some nutritional. Why these source bank is available? Why local community is surviving? Why the vegetation is there? These are the some highly palatable plants on which these livestock and local community depend for their forage fodders. These are the soil related components. Now I want to show you the different as madam was talking about. These arid lands are rich with their their indigenous resources. And we have compiled a pictorial album to show you all the participants that never considered desert barren lands. Desert already in some way another way has some potential. These are the plants which are locally used as the food source for the local community. And you can from the deserts, Cholistan desert, these are the jand, berry, these are the Salvadora species are very important from the food point of view. Similarly, phog, Caligonum polygonoides used as a local vegetable. This is Caparis. This vegetable only come out after the rains, and highly delicious vegetable and local community depend on, and different plants are used different as a different vegetable in the different seasons. All the plants are not available around the year. This is the one mushroom is also very delicious. This only come after the rains in the August. Now these are the very important component. Desert is rich in natural herbs. These herbs are used by the different herbalist medicine companies for their these plants for their different disease and treatments. You can see these are minor miniature herbs. These have the very short lifespans, difficult to capture. Just check how the drylands are rich in natural resources. Just check the album. These all the come after the rains. No doubt, perennial species remain intact around the year, but the herbs only come after the there are more than 80 in Cholistan, and a huge amount is. These were the medicinal plants I have shown you to some pictorial album. Now this is the about the forage plants on with livestock dependent. These are all the plants are categorized into high palatable, moderate palatable, less palatable, and the by the and dependent and the, what type of the livestock prefer these plants. So I want to add this that deserts are rich in natural sources. By which we have to find out. These are the grass species which are the rich in high proteins. Now these are the some now categorize the natural resource bank as a fiber source. These plants have the high fiber component and local community use for their different for making the roofs, for thatching purposes, for their natural living places locally called gop. This is the wool from the sheep's type of the livestock. This is that in Cholistan, in Cholistan desert, there are the four type of the livestock: sheep, goat, camel, and cattle. And local community, they are the economy of their homes. And the grazing livestock is the style of this. They always nomadic lifestyle grazing in desert. And is about the some other sense. We were more focused on the floral desert resources, but I have added some this component that this desert is also very important from the ecotourism and the wildlife diversity. These are some pure picture from taken from the deserts during our surveys. This desert is rich in different natural wildlife diversity, and they have the huge potential for the tourism. And this wildlife also play very important role in the food chain, food web, deserts, or you can say the arid ecosystems. But now this is the very some drastic factors in the our Cholistan desert. There is the burning of some local crops. There is the lopping of trees. Already there is a very rare growth in Cholistan, but due to some our bad intent trees, lopping of the trees, and the burning of the firewood. These are the some pictorial evidences from the arid land. But these pressure is the burning of bush is especially during the winter season when there is a extremely low temperature in desert. This is the effect of droughts, erosions, overgrazings, and dust storms. These are huge factors. We cannot ignore these drastic factors. But sometimes these are all the natural factors. Drought is a natural factors, erosion, overgrazing, because when there is a rain, there sometimes the rain is so much erratic rains. They carry away all the sands. But these are our the institute factors. But what we are doing, we have working the different projects in the Cholistan, and we have the field-based stations in deserts. These are we have established some nurseries to protect in a stock of Cholistan. These are the range grasses. What are the livestock dependent on it? These are the huge. We have the seed bank collections, seasonal every year we have the collaboration with the Hubara Foundation International for the seed broadcasting. We mark the seed for the revival of this arid land. All the which species are going to be extinct, we have find out through GPS locations. We find out their habitat and rebroadcast the seed in that areas. This is the some strategy how we can preserve exclusively from Cholistan desert for the nature source in Cholistan rangelands. This is the I have finalized because the detailed seasonal vegetation mapping alternate should be provided to local community for the nature sources by the soil and water conservation practices, sustainable of high medicinal plants usage, because we have to give the alternate to the local herbalist, nutritive value of all the available plant resources. We have the you can say some strong interlinkages with the national and international institutes, local government involvements, and as well as we have the strong policy for the arid land, desert land, and now this is the credit goes to Dr. Nausheen. She has integrated the different PCRWR, the Islamia University of Bahawalpur, on one agenda, especially talking about the dry lands. And this is the need for the more additional research work, and we cannot do it. We can do it as a teamwork, different department, different. The more research on the dry land, because it is totally neglected subject. In national and international students, agencies, workers, and all the department are working the response. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Abdullah, for a very detailed view of the flora and the fauna variants that Cholistan Desert is offering, and the great work your institution is doing under your kind supervision. We're looking forward to more collaborative work from PCRWR and Cholistan Institute of Desert Studies and different universities of Pakistan as well. Thank you so much once again. I would like to invite Mr. Muhammad Imran, who is Regional Director in PCRWR. Please, sir, share your information and knowledge regarding the topic Climate Resilient Solutions for the Survival of Cholistani Community, a PCRWR Experience.
First of all, I would like to thank Dr. Nausheen, Mazhar, Chairperson, Geography Department, and Dr. Muhammad Abdullah from State Department, University of Islamia University, Bahawalpur, for giving me the opportunity at this forum to express my knowledge and experience. By using this platform, I will try to present the efforts carried out by PCRWR in Cholistan Desert for the survival of nomads as well as for their livestock, because livestock is the only or main source of livelihood for the community of Cholistani people. Recently, we have published a research report on the Cholistan Desert. My presentation will be on this report, the results and the achievements we have got through this research report. The main features of this report: before the implementation of field activities, we have acquired data from the livestock population, from the local stakeholder departments like Cholistan Development Authority, Pakistan Bureau of Statistics, and Directorate of Livestock, Bahawalpur. We have estimated the worth of livestock. Basically, the report entirely, the key character in the report is the livestock. We have estimated the overall budget of the Cholistan Desert. Before this was not estimated. This was happened in the previous year. During the survey, we have also estimated the surface water potential, inventory of groundwater storage facilities, including the physical condition of ponds, reservoirs. Beside this, we have also estimated the water requirement as required by the local community and their animals in Cholistan Desert. Groundwater investigation mapping have also been completed during the study. Despite of this, water quality of surface and groundwater resources have also been analyzed. When we talk about the main sources of Cholistan Desert, in Cholistan Desert, the main source is in the form of surface water, which is rainwater. PCRWR have constructed some ponds in Cholistan Desert. Cholistan Development Authority have also done the same work by following the design of PCRWR. There are local tobas. They are not more than 1,000 tobas in Cholistan Desert, but they are not properly designed. Ponds are also there. The second source for the drinking of humans and livestock is groundwater. But this is unfortunate because the groundwater in the entire Cholistan is mostly saline. 70% groundwater of the Cholistan Desert is based on saline groundwater. As I mentioned, Pakistan Council of Research in Water Resources have established 110 rainwater harvesting ponds in the Cholistan Desert to cope the water deficiency in Cholistan Desert. These ponds are separated at a uniform distance of 15 to 20 kilometers to provide the drinking water facilities to the local community of Cholistani people and as well as their livestock. This is basically the location map of Cholistan Desert. We have acquired the data, as I mentioned earlier, that we have acquired the data from the various departments. On the basis of this data, we estimated the drinking water requirement per capita per day in terms of liters. By doing this thing, we estimated that there is a total requirement for the drinking water of livestock and their humans is 2,033 million gallons. You can see in this picture. And when we talk about the total water deficit in the Cholistan Desert, as I mentioned, PCRWR had developed 110 ponds, having a total storage capacity of 424 million gallons. CDA also replicated the same design of PCRWR and constructed 61 ponds. There are more than 1,000 local tobas having the total capacity of 800 million gallons. Cumulatively, the total water storage capacity in the Cholistan Desert is approximately 1,458 million gallons. As I mentioned in the previous slide, the total requirement is 2,033 million gallons. Water storage capacity is 1,458 million gallons. And the net water deficit is the situation is very alarming. There is, after PCRWR interventions and CDA, there is still a very huge deficit of 876 million gallons in Cholistan Desert. Before the efforts of PCRWR, this was not done by any department. We acquired different data from various departments and done very extensive field surveys in Cholistan Desert. By doing geophysical surveys, water quality monitoring of surface water and groundwater resources. We have completed the groundwater investigation mapping of Cholistan Desert. This is basically one picture showing the groundwater quality at 25-meter depth. But behind this picture, we have done 1,500 geophysical surveys to draw this picture. This picture is very clear. You can see that the green portion showing the permissible drinkable water, the light pink portion showing the marginal groundwater, and when we deep down into the earth, the groundwater quality suddenly changes from fresh to marginal and then marginal to highly saline groundwater. You can see in the next slide, the green portion is shortens and the marginal and highly saline groundwater it means the water quality as deeper into the earth is deteriorating very rapidly. We have not estimated the groundwater quality mapping, but also we have groundwater quality zones mapping. If we have fresh groundwater at 25-meter depth, then we have calculated the area coverage at different groundwater quality zones and their percentage. We have very low fresh groundwater availability in the Cholistan desert. Basically, this is the recharge of old river Hakra river. This is basically the fossil groundwater and very limited groundwater for which will be used for the drinking purpose of the Cholistan community and their livestock. We have not acquired the groundwater quality mapping, but also the soil mapping, topsoil mapping of the entire Cholistan. You can see that the lesser Cholistan area is mostly consists of clay to silty clay type soil. It means that we have, as Dr. Abdullah showed the rainfall pattern of the Cholistan desert, we have also installed a Met observatory at our field research station at Deengar. We observed that in the previous 6 to 7 years, you can see the abrupt changes in the climate in Cholistan desert. We experienced a single event of rainfall 200 millimeters in a single day. This was not happened in previous 30 years in Cholistan desert. It means there is a climate change. Due to climate change, the erratic rainfall happens in Cholistan desert. As I mentioned in previous slide, there is clay type or silty clay type soil in Cholistan desert, which is favorable for the surface runoff potential. It means runoff potential is available, soil is favorable, and there is enough rainfall to be harnessed. This is pictorial view of Cholistan desert after Dr. Abdullah have shown very beautiful pictures, flora and fauna. We have also done some work in Cholistan desert. A little kid have filling her baths. This is the main source of drinking water. We in urban areas talking about the quality of water, but these people living in Cholistan desert are asking our departments to provide water. Whatever it is safe for drinking purpose or it is not. They are asking just for the water. Surface water, we have identified the safe and unsafe surface water sources which are developed by PCRWR, local TOBAs and Cholistan Development Authority. Similarly, we have also collect the water samples from the available groundwater sources. Then we mentioned that the main contamination is due to the highly TDS salts and sodium. The major contamination is due to the high TDS. These were the rumors. Somehow it is the reality that there is deficient Cholistan desert, and it was evident from the newspapers and social media that there was a huge drought in 2022. PCRWR teams was mobilized in those days. It was observed that the local TOBAs have dried out in these days, but the water was available in the PCRWR and Cholistan Development Authority ponds. The reason is that these ponds were designed on scientifically based, and local TOBAs were not designed scientifically based. These are some pictorial view in those days. PCRWR recommended that various recommendations at the last of this research report, as I mentioned at the first slide. The desiltation should be carried out on top priority basis. New schemes for the drinking purpose of Cholistani community and livestock should be launched immediately. Reseeding of indigenous grasses should be there. Cutting of trees, solar technology should be adopted to provide drinking water facilities. The demand of ponds is very high. Water supply schemes should be installed, and sand dunes should be stabilized in Cholistan desert. We have policies regarding national water policy, Punjab water policy there, but there is unfortunately there is no implementation of these policies. The government implement. The departments are not implemented these policies. Government organize the policies, but there is unfortunate that the policies cannot be implemented. Keeping in view the importance of surface water or groundwater resources, we submit a proposal to the United Nations Children's Fund, and they approved this project. And we have started this project in Cholistan Desert. In this project, we will launch, we will develop 20 more rainwater harvesting ponds and solarized water filtration plants in Cholistan Desert to cope the drinking water facilities to the deprived community of Cholistani Desert. Similarly, we have also doing a project in Dera Ghazi Khan and Rajinpur province of Punjab. In these areas, these are basically also arid areas. We are doing here also with the collaboration of UNICEF. Almost 70% civil work and mechanical work is completed here. We are doing artificial groundwater recharge by developing the Gabion structures, filtration chambers, and by cleaning the water through filtration chambers and pouring it into the groundwater to meet the drinking water and due to deterioration of groundwater in these areas. This is a beautiful evening in Cholistan Desert. Thank you. Allah Hafiz.
Thank you so much, Mr. Muhammad Imran, for sharing your valuable input about the water resource availability in Cholistan, the water quality work that your organization has done, the mapping you have performed about the water quality is really commendable. And we are happy to share the experiences of both the experts. Mostly, although they were talking about the Cholistan community and the challenges it is facing in terms of climatic impacts, but Cholistan is being shared here as a representative of the drylands, a case study. And as I mentioned in my slides, that the dryland areas of the country are at the verge of desertification. So these might be the future challenges of the rest of the areas that have been demarcated in different maps during this webinar. So without further ado, let's move towards the Q&A session. And I would request the experts to try to be brief in answering. I'll just select a few of the most pertinent ones. Mr. Sattar Anjum wishes to know if there is any community-based organization consisting of male and female communities working in this region, Cholistan. Yes, anyone amongst you who feels they are in a better position to answer? Dr. Abdullah?
Yes, in Cholistan, local community-based organizations are working. Just want to add, Anjum Saab, there are the Cholistan Institute of Desert Studies, there is PCRWR, there is Arid Zone Research Center. These are three institutes are working exclusively for Cholistan. But in other private organizations are also working, Al Sadiq Foundation, as well as other second one is the desert-based organization. Few private organizations are also working. But the other NGOs or from the tourism department based NGOs are working, as well as the wildlife department. Some government departments are also there. Cholistan Development Authority is also there for the working, especially, and some conservation organization is the Hubara Foundation International. This is a big investment by this organization for the protection of fauna flora and the local community upgradation, because this organization has the good funding sources, and this is working for the different resources management of Cholistan local community. But multiple organizations depend upon the task and mandate of different organizations and departments. But there are the communities.
Community organizations are there, and they are being monitored by collective governmental representatives, perhaps, so that mutual efforts can be channelized and best benefit can be taken from it.
Exactly, they are all type of the organizations are there, but depend upon their mandate. Either they have the mandate for water, for the women empowerment, either they have the livestock based organizations. Different organizations are there. If anybody, researcher, student, want to work, they can interact with me, all the Dr. Imran Saab, we can facilitate them regarding the Cholistan research and the Cholistan working.
Thank you so much, Dr. Abdullah. Professor Hamza Farooq Gabriel wants to know, I think Mr. Muhammad Imran would be interested to answer that. What measures have been carried out to minimize the evaporation losses from the ponds? Have there any measures of such kind been taken by PCRWR?
Yes, PCRWR have recently launched a project to Ministry of Water Resources to amend the physical conditions of pond filtration taps we have constructed. They are basically 70% physical traps. Silt traps are damaged due to the rainfall events and due to local livestock. We will inshallah launch soon the project.
Okay, I hope it answers the question. And Dr. Beg wants to know about a perspective of PCRWR that being a specialized government institution in water sector, why is no provision for separate water harvesting pond for community drinking? He has noticed that the ponds are not fenced and both humans and animals are drinking from the same pond. So, sir, would you like to comment on that?
Initially, madam, when we developed these ponds, there were fencing was there, main gate was there. Local community was directed to drink water from the ponds, and these ponds were entirely for the livestock of the Cholistan desert. But unfortunately, all the things are broken by the community, and both the livestock and drinking water at the same ponds are ponds. Basically, ponds for the human community, and ponds are tobas for the livestock.
Okay. Okay. I think that clarifies it. Besides, the ground realities are different. Even if PCRWR invests at some ponds, when it's a calamity time, it's difficult to mobilize and to control the community, and dual purposes can be seen. I mean, both humans and livestock might begin drinking from the same ponds. However, there is no clear distinction, but in future, perhaps more effort can be made that wherever the paths of the livestock are more common, over there, the livestock ponds can be constructed and separate ones for the human community. For that, of course, we need to do mutual research, highlight the spots and map those particular areas, and then proceed towards planning where the tobas and ponds need to be established in future. Another question is by Dr. Wahid from NAST. How artificial rain can help to mitigate the effects of climate change in dryland areas? So if you would like to answer, sir, or Dr. Abdullah?
Yes, I want to add one aspect. Second aspect can other add. Yes, artificial rains, because there is the ultimate shortage, or there is the lack of the component is the ultimate challenge in Cholistan. We can add artificial rain, but we can add in such a component and in such a way that it should not disturb the local economy, because deserts itself are the natural ecosystems. We want to add just to maintain the balance of desert, not converting into an agriculture field. Just imagine it. We need the artificial rain need base, not modifying the ecosystem balance of desert. When desert is a drought spell, we can do it. Yes, I recommend it, but we don't want to change the balance of. Either recently we have done it in the Lahore need base to minimize the smoke component. Yes, we can out system. We can do the artificial rain. We can use technology, but in such a way that we should not interact with the natural cycle balance of ecosystem. Thank you.
So in case of a severe famine, like the 2002 heat wave Cholistan experienced last year, in case of severe weather phenomena, cloud
Yes,
seeding
we can.
and artificial rain can be practiced, but
Exactly.
obviously huge investment is required for that. So government
Exactly.
sector need to join hands to help the local community in this regard.
Yes, I want to add our university is working on this project, and we have finalized all the plan of artificial rain. Our Professor Dr. Atar Mehboob and his team has finalized. Okay, if we do the artificial rain in desert, what will it do? So we have the plan, we have talked about our Islamia University has done work, but we will do it definitely during the famine condition. But we also have to maintain the natural balance of system. We do in special case. Thank you.
One last question, I think Mr. Muhammad Imran would like to answer. How are your experiences concerning the policy and governance? Were you able to implement your policies successfully, and what were the challenges? So being a government representative, sir, would you like to share some of your input regarding this question?
And basically, we are researchers, not the implementing authority. We can develop research ideas and submit to the government, then government convert it into policies. But there, I already mentioned that there are policies, but there are no implementation of these policies. As Dr. Abdullah has mentioned that there should be no balance disturbance by doing the technical things. But this is unfortunate that government of Pakistan has launched a project in Cholistan Desert, and they are entirely disturbing the ecosystem of Cholistan Desert. This is not in our hands.
So as you've mentioned that your organization is working on research and you are highlighting the issues and you're recommending the policies. However, the policy implementation body is yet again the governmental bodies. And I think the cohesion on their part and the seriousness on their part to help different research institutions across the country is lacking at the moment. And with this, I think I would move towards the concluding remarks. I would like to thank Dr. Muhammad Abdullah and Mr. Muhammad Imran, the two great experts from the field, to join us in this webinar. I would also like to thank HESSA team and USAID for providing us the opportunity to raise this issue of drylands and desertification that is affecting most of the country at the moment, and the issues that the researching institutions of the country are facing at the moment. And we request the government of Pakistan to intervene and help us to establish the National Desertification Institute, for example, which was promised in 2002 and then in 2017, a national plan, so that the separated efforts of different sectors of research institutions across the country can be channelized, monitored, and the best practices can be implemented by the funds that would be allotted to that particular institution. And together we can move towards becoming a water scarce to a better water handling country, especially in terms of the drylands. So with this, I would like to thank you all for joining us, and Allah Hafiz from my side.
Thank you so much.